What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Strong Style here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I am one of your co-hosts. I'm the Outlaw, John Rocha, and I'm joined by a man who probably was wondering if this day would ever come, and the day has come, and we're going to get to that, and that's CM Punk returning. Aaron Turner, how are you?
It's Strong Style time.
Hello. That's right. And so we're so looking forward to it. We're going to get into so many things. Aaron, we're definitely going to talk about CM Punk returning. Obviously, we're going to talk about Roman Reigns' controversial comments. We're going to get into the reaction from a lot of the fans. Hell, maybe if some of you were watching, and I'll repeat this a couple of times, if some of you were actually there and some of you tweeted at Aaron and I that you were there in Chicago and you want to come in and tell us what the experience was like firsthand, I think we could open up the StreamYard link for you all to come in. So we'll touch upon that a little bit later. We'll announce it again later on in the show. But that'd be fun to hear some kind of hands-on witnesses or eyewitnesses rather to what was going on and how it was. And those lines of the merchandise were insane. Well, like I said, we're going to get into all that. We're also going to preview and predict SummerSlam. It's happening tonight. And we're also going to get into our predictions for NXT Takeover 36, which is happening very soon as well. Okay, so how are you, Aaron, overall? Like, what's your mindset as you wake up this morning and it's a CM Punk and AEW world?
Well, I mean, let's just jump right into it, man.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let me be honest. Let me be frank. I'm known for, we're known for that on this show. So
that's right.
I think that I really hate the phrasing of a rising tide raises all ships, because people use that way too much, and a lot of times it doesn't make sense. A rising tide raises all ships. For this, I think that, and I was talking to my buddy TJ about this.
Yeah.
He's a big CM Punk fan. I'm not so much. Like I respect him. I respect what he's done. I respect the guy that, there you go. I respect the guy that he is.
Right.
I think that having CM Punk back in wrestling feels right. Like it feels good to have him there. Not just at, like, when he was on that WWE backstage show. Like that wasn't CM Punk. Like now it's CM Punk. Last night we saw CM Punk. I mean, do we even have to discuss the crowd? Like, the crowd was super into it, of course. I think AEW did it the right way. They didn't, Tony Khan didn't come out on stage and say, I've got a big announcement. Like, no, cut that shit out. They just let it go, and it was perfect. And they got the Cult of Personality theme, like I figured they would. And Punk was hugging people, jumped in the crowd. That AEW security guy was not happy that he did that. He was freaking out. But once he got in the ring, he's just Punk, man. He cut his promo. Perfect promo, did exactly what he needed to do. Crapped all over the WWE without crapping all over the WWE, which is it's hard to do. So he did great. And then he said all the right things as well. He said, I'm here for you. I'm here for all the young talent in the back. I'm here to settle some scores. And the first thing that CM Punk did, like, it's important, his first words, like, really in the wrestling business in 7 years, it's so important. And what does he do? He puts over Britt Baker. Yeah. So it's like, wow, right off the bat, what a boost for everybody. So I was happy to hear that. And then now it looks like we're going to get him and Darby in a couple of weeks at All Out, which should be great. So I'm looking forward to that. But everything that CM Punk did, everything that you wanted from CM Punk, it happened. It was perfect. The way to bring him in, the shirt, the music, everything, the ice cream bars, like everything hit. And then when the announcers had to, they jumped in. Yeah. And that was fine. If I had a caveat, I guess it would be that the rest of the show sucked. Everything after CM Punk sucked. But then again, how do you follow that? You know what I mean? So they didn't really backload the show like I thought they would. It was only 20 minutes, which I guess was about the right amount of time. But I'm happy to see him back. I think as a skeptic that he was even going to come back, even like when it was pretty much confirmed, I was still skeptical that he would actually show up to wrestle in the building. Right. And there he was. And I found myself like, wow, how cool. Because you remember, like, I saw somebody that likened it to when Edge came back at the Royal Rumble. And you saw that look on Edge's face, like, oh my God, like, it's overwhelming. Like, CM Punk had the same look last night. He didn't cry, but he was very close. Like, such a great moment for him. It's got to be like one of the top 5 pops of all time. So just really happy that CM Punk is back in wrestling. We're going to talk about Roman Reigns. I know everybody is pushing the moving the needle stuff. But
yeah,
I just want to talk about CM Punk real quick. Like, he's just, it's just good, man. All it is good. Like, as much as I have been a little more harsh on AEW, I would say, than I have WWE lately, and people have told me that, and I say you're wrong, which you are. But this is the right move. This is something that really boosts your brand. Like, it is a game changer. Like, CM Punk, in the post interview said that his contract is not short term, and it's not part time. So it looks like CM Punk is going to be there for a little bit, and it's super exciting, man. And if you complained about the dude crying, like when they cut to that, cut it out.
Yeah.
Cut it out. It was awesome. It was emotional. So I've talked about it enough. Go for it, man.
Yeah, man. Well, first I want to say, I should have said at the top of the show, please remember we've got Streamlabs and Super Chats rolling here. Please send in your Streamlabs Super Chats. Let us know what you thought about CM Punk. Let us know what you thought about all the stuff we're going to talk about here today as we go along through the show. Support the show. We're excited to do the show. We love doing the show. Your support is essential to us doing the show. So please send in your Streamlabs and Super Chats right above Aaron's head. It's in the description of this video, and it's pinned to the chat. So please send in your support to keep us going, doing this show every week here on the Outlaw Nation channel. All right. We got that business out of the way. Aaron, I think, said a lot of incredible things here through his opening opinion piece about CM Punk coming back. And I agree for the most part. I think it's the right move. I think it's the right time. It's the right place, because CM Punk is an irreverent rattler of cages. This is what he likes to do. This is what he's built to do. And people may hate that. They like the more, mainstream guy, doesn't mess with too much. When there's a difference of opinion, expresses it in a certain way, or when the tide all of a sudden turns on a opinion about a certain controversial topic, rides the tide all of a sudden, claiming to have had more thoughtful examination of a topic. CM Punk tells you what the hell he thinks every single moment he's on screen. Is it always perfect? Hell no. Is it always right? Hell no, but it's his opinion. And the number one thing that gets over with pro wrestling fans, and any fans really of any kind of sporting event or sporting league, is authenticity. The number one thing is authenticity, and CM Punk radiates authenticity, radiates believability. And in even in my instinctual nature when he was going after the WWE was like, don't, you don't need to. But the way he did it was kind of crafty and was kind of honest. He was saying, my mental health, my issues, it didn't work being in the WWE, and I wasn't going to get better staying in a place that consistently created a toxic work environment for myself. I believe in myself. I believe I deserve this kind of thing, and this place didn't agree with me, and I rolled out. Ric Flair delivered a beautiful statement about him leaving the WWE, and he essentially said the same thing. Not that it was toxic, but he said the WWE is going in a direction with my future that I don't want to go in. I believe my future is different than what they think my future is, so I'm leaving the WWE. CM Punk essentially said that in the promo last night. They thought I was one thing. I'm not that thing. I deserve something else. They were messing with my mental health, and I needed to get out. Two things can be true, and I want this to be very, very clear. A place can be good for other people and not good for you. And just because it's good for them doesn't mean you need to feel bad that it's not good for you. When you're seeing the toxicity, you're seeing the kind of almost cult-like devotion to one person like they have with Vince, it may not be the right place for you to be at. You need to be a place where you're more interactive, where you're more involved, and where your opinion and your point of view matters with the direction of your character, especially with the status that you have. And walking out to that pop in Chicago was incredible. And people trying to downplay it, I see it already. Well, it's Chicago. Fuck off. They've been chanting for CM Punk on arenas all across the fucking country for years, all right? At WWE events, they've been yelled at by WWE staff before events start on camera. They've been told not to do that. It's all around. It happens. And I guarantee you those CM Punk chants are going to start up all over again, these WWE venues, when they go to these house shows, maybe even on Raw or SmackDown, maybe even NXT, for God's sakes, because the man represents the people. Whether you like it or not, he represents the people, and the people and their desire to destroy authority or to question authority or to shake the halls of authority with their opinions. And that's what he did last night in a clever way. And I want to ask, go back to you, Aaron, and please, of course, obviously, if you have an opinion on what I said as well, but do you think he's telling the truth, that he hadn't scripted anything out, that this was all off the cuff and it was just him just improv monologuing about this whole thing?
100%.
Wow.
He's a guy that can do that.
Yeah.
You know, there's not many guys that can do something like that. You know, Rock, Cena, like those guys could probably do that. Maybe a Triple H, but not CM Punk. Of course, he's a man of words. He's the voice of the voiceless. Of course, he could.
The voice of the voiceless. Yeah.
I do want to piggyback on something that you said. I've seen some people like really take a dump on this, and I'm like, dude, I don't understand. Like, even myself is like such a pro WWE guy, and like AEW is like not necessarily my jam, but I still watch it. Like, how can you crap on this? Like, it's one of those things like when I don't know, like when your brother comes to Thanksgiving dinner and like you and your brother don't see eye to eye on stuff, but when you see each other, it's like, hey, it's all forgiven, man. Right. Like when CM Punk walked back through the ramp in Chicago last night, all's forgiven. Like, I don't care that he walked out in WWE. Like, I don't care anymore. It doesn't matter. Right. So it's just all's forgiven. I'm so glad that he's back. Like, if it's an AEW, it's way better for him than WWE. Let's be honest. I mean, he's already matching up with Darby, which is a good matchup. And then you've got the one, like, just mentally, the matches that CM Punk can have is great. Yeah. The one I look forward to, of course, is CM Punk versus Pac. But we can talk about that. We talk about that, or Pac. We can talk about that another time. But it's something special. Like, you know, when the Hardys came back at WrestleMania, like that was something special too. But we already knew, like, the Hardys were active wrestlers at the time. When John Cena came back at Money in the Bank or whatever it was a couple weeks ago, we kind of knew John Cena was coming back, and John Cena hasn't really been gone that long. CM Punk's been gone for 7 years. Yeah, he was on backstage. Yeah, he did the WWE or the UFC stuff where he got pounded, but he did it. And it's just like, there's some things that just fit. You know what I mean? Like, CM Punk in a wrestling ring just fits, and it just feels right. Like, you know, Michael Jordan as a bull and not as a fucking wizard. Like, it just fits. Like, it just works. And everything was so pitch perfect last night. I was actually surprised they didn't screw it up, because how can you keep something that big? Like, the secret get out, sure, kind of, but they still kept it in. Like, they could have easily, broadcast, CM Punk's going to be there, and you would get like maybe even more of a viewer burst or even more tickets sold. But it's just crazy, dude. Like, from the second that first riff of Cold Personality happened, like, boom, like you knew it was going to happen. So, and I don't know how you don't get excited for something like that. Like, I get the people that don't like AEW and it's like, oh, it's garbage. I get it. But how are you not happy as a pro wrestling fan that something like that happens? Same thing with John Cena. Like, how are you not happy that John Cena came back? Like, you heard that crowd pop. Like, how are you not happy to see these people that you know can not only still go, but like entertain the hell out of you? Like, I just don't understand that whole mentality. No. And that CM Punk being back in wrestling is nothing but a good thing. That's it. That's bottom line. Let me bottom line it for you. Like, it's just, he's good. He's great. Like, even if he's 50% of what he used to be, that's better than most. So, remains to be seen. I'm excited. Like, I'm trying to put like better words together and phrasing. I just can't. Like, I'm just super excited, and I'm glad that it's happening.
Well, he's 42. So, and apparently he's healthy. And, 70 years away from a ring can really do a lot of good for your body. He did try mixed martial arts, so he certainly was still physically training. He did look a little lighter when he came out last night, so we'll see how that plays into how he wrestles. We haven't seen him wrestle in a ring in quite some time. So a consistent amount of time, consistent amount of matches back to back. We'll see how he does. He had a post-game press conference afterwards as well. He said, timing is everything. It felt right when I was sick and tired and hurt in WWE, and I realized that these people wouldn't care if I died today. There would be another show tomorrow. I knew I had to remove myself from the situation. I didn't know how long it was going to take for me to heal. Then this came along, and credit to everyone at AEW. It reminded me of places I used to work that I loved. It was more about the spirit of the thing This, instead of feeling like a house, it felt like a home. And that's a great point he brings up. Again, there is a more nuanced conversation here to have once you rip away the surface approach to this. And we're seeing already the mongoloid on both sides arguing just the surface of this. But there's something more that you need to go deeper in. And too many of these pro wrestling pundits and critics don't fucking go deeper about shit like this. This is a guy that has a unique psychological makeup in the world of wrestling. All right. He has a point of view about himself, and he has been able to get over at such a high volume that he has weight. He has cachet. He can show up after 7 years, and a crowd can literally look like monkeys going crazy in a zoo because they're so caught up in the emotion of what this guy represents to them. And he represents them who've worked in shitty places, who've been treated like crap by their employers, who think that they can do more, but their employers won't give them a chance, who bring in other people their employers do to kind of put them above them and never quite see their value. Trust me, I fucking know what that feels like. So that's what he represents to a lot of people. That's what he signifies to so many people. So they connect to that, and they like when he rattles Vince's cage. They like when he sets shit on fire, and figuratively, because it makes people uncomfortable. It makes people react in certain ways that expose who these people really are underneath. And his concept of like, this is a place that was toxic for me, was messing with me. The fact that they wouldn't care. This is a change. We're seeing this more and more. He is riding the wave of change that's going on in the sports world here, Aaron, more and more. It started a few years ago as you saw more NFL players retiring at younger ages because of the CTE situation, the drama around that. Then the Ray Rice situation. Then you slide into what's been going on with Simone Biles, with her stepping away after the pressure of that Naomi Osaka. This is happening across the board. Athletes are taking more control of what they can and can't do in situations, and are not being pressured or forced into situations just so fans can go, see, that's real strength, that's real blah, 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 and then go back to their own lives and use that mentality to persecute themselves when they can't step up or they can't push themselves past a certain moment and feel terrible about themselves. CM Punk represents creating ownership of yourself and value for yourself, and putting it out there and making people step up to the plate to value you. And I think that's a good thing when everyone else is talking about, oh, you got to power. I broke my triceps or I broke my quadriceps. And there's another mentality as well that's emerging and gaining strength amongst the sports world or sports entertainment world that, hey, you don't have to fucking do all this shit to risk your life for 15,000 people. Because guess what? Those 15,000 people, if you get permanently injured, they will not be there for you when you move past that one night. So you've got to be more aware of what you can and can't do and what you can and can't take. And I think that's important for that mentality to be out there, and people shitting on it really need to take a look at themselves or go see a psychiatrist. That's my opinion.
It's not even just wrestling. I mean, look at the workforce that we have right now.
Yes.
Like, people are not going back. Like, people are not going to stand for this low wage bullshit. Like, I'm not going to sit here and work for a corporation for peanuts. Like, it's not going to happen. So you're going to pay me and we're going to work this out, or I'm not going to work.
Right.
And I drive down the road, I see these signs everywhere, and like, I see people on Twitter, I see my own like people on Facebook, and they're just like, I can't believe like nobody wants to work. I'm like, yeah, nobody wants to work for peanuts.
Right.
And I don't blame you. Like, it wears on you, man. Like, living paycheck to paycheck, that wears on you. Like, it's just, it's not a good thing, man. Like, I talked about it on Twitter. I talked about it on Facebook this week. Like, Marshawn Lynch, of all people, love Marshawn Lynch. He said a couple of years ago, he was talking about young people in the NFL. Like, if I had some advice to give young people in the NFL, I would tell y'all, protect y'all bread, protect y'all chickens, protect y'all mentals. And I always took that. I was like, man, Marshawn Lynch, like, fucking gets it, man.
Yeah.
Like, protect y'all mentals. Like, he gets it. He 100% gets it. And something else I want to talk about, like, CM Punk, like, let's talk about merchandise for a second. Like,
oh, man.
John Cena. John Cena was the top like WWE merch guy seller for like 10 years straight or something.
Right.
You know who knocked him off that pedestal? CM Punk was the only guy that knocked him off that pedestal. John Cena might still be the number one guy. I don't know, but CM Punk knocked him off that pedestal. So, we'll talk about the Roman Reigns stuff again, like later. Again, we'll talk about it in a minute. But it's like that to me is just insane. Did you see like the pictures of the merch line?
Yes.
When CM Punk debuted, it was like two floors long.
Yeah.
And, just insane. Pro Wrestling Tees shut down. John couldn't get on Pro Wrestling Tees last night.
While I got getting all those tweets from you all, and thank you all if you're watching, for everybody who tweeted me or Aaron and I, or Aaron himself, because I was watching, I was monitoring Aaron's feed as well. I was so just blown away by the amount of the reaction to CM Punk coming back. And so I jumped on to Pro Wrestling Tees to try to get a CM Punk shirt, and I was stuck in the beach ball the whole effing time. And then Pro Wrestling Tees said, "Oh, we got unlimited amount. Don't you sweat it." And then less than a few minutes later, rather, they came out and said, "Yeah, you crashed our server. It looks like we're not going to be back up until Monday." So I was like, damn, when's the last time you heard of something like that happening? And I almost bought a couple of CM Punk shirts. This is from Pro Wrestling Tees as well. I almost bought a couple more in anticipation on, was it on Tuesday or Wednesday? But that new one, that one is the one that you got to get. Yeah. And if any of you have I was there, I want one of those, man, because they only sold those at the arena. I was there, CM Punk shirts. They probably sold out, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure.
They're probably like $200 on eBay right now. But those things, that's an incredible memento to have. And I don't know of any pro wrestler that shut down a fucking website with their merchandise sales minutes after coming back onto the stage. So to me, 7 years later or whatever years later is incredible. So I'm just blown away by what he's able to do. And, I'm floored by the people who continue to push this bullshit narrative that he is somehow not on the same level as these other greats in the business. And I just can't understand that. We'll have an overall discussion about that, I'm sure. But this is yet another arrow in the quiver of that debate that you can use to go against people who think CM Punk isn't at this level. He is not The Rock or Cena. Of course, that's a different type of wrestler. He is another kind of wrestler, but his cachet, his name, his presence, his energy, obviously last night still carries the weight 7 years later that it did before he left. You could argue it's grown in stature because of the legend that he has become in people's minds since he left and what he represents. And especially, Aaron, with all the shits that's been happening in our society over the last few years, this idea of having someone come up to be someone to call people out and call them out publicly, call them out on television, is something that people want to cheer for and support, no matter what side of the political fence you're on.
And my question now is, will CM Punk, and I think he will, I think I'm answering my own question, but will CM Punk get the best out of All Elite Wrestling? Because we've seen over the past couple of years, for me, it's been up and down. It's a roller coaster. It's an oxymoron of a show. It's right. Kind of disjointed at times. Will CM Punk be that glue that keeps it all together? Hey guys, let's not do this bull crap. Let's do this. Mm-hmm. And I think that he will. I think that he will get the best out of AEW and what they can do and what they can be. So a guy like maybe Chris Jericho steps aside. I'm not saying that he should,
right?
Or maybe he should, but Chris Jericho really built the foundation of AEW with that veteran name, that veteran leadership, and maybe it's time for Jericho to take a step back and let a CM Punk come in and change. As CM Punk likes to say, when you ask the question or when you ask the questions, I change the culture. So maybe the CM Punk is, changing the culture in AEW. I think that what he said, what he said was perfect when he said, I want to work with the younger guys. So Darby Allin, MJF, Hangman Page, Pac, we're going to work with these younger guys. Is CM Punk coming back to have a feud with Jericho or Christian or, Matt Hardy? I doubt it. So it's good to hear. I know that that's his mentality. He has a business mentality, and it makes a whole lot of sense to be that guy. And like you said, I don't understand it either. I don't understand why you would dump on this guy for coming back and changing everything about wrestling, making wrestling. Anytime something like that happens, like when John Cena came back a few weeks ago, a lot of people were talking about wrestling again. CM Punk comes back, even more people are talking about wrestling. It's on ESPN. It's on Sports Illustrated, it's on Forbes, it's everywhere. It's front page news, and it's a big thing. And you want to talk about something funny? like on the weekends, my friends and I, we're part-time eBay resellers. So we find stuff out in the wild. We go thrifting. Well, a friend of mine found a CM Punk t-shirt, like an older CM Punk t-shirt. And he had it up on eBay, and he's like, I don't know, I'll list it for like $50, see if anybody wants it. Pretty high. And then this morning it sold. Like instant. Wow. So of course people are buying up all the CM Punk merch. By the way, if you have one of those ice cream bars, I don't know how they hold, but if you want to ship it to me, I don't want to eat it. I just want to keep it. So it's whatever. But it's if you're a wrestling fan, if you are a true wrestling fan, today is a happy day. And last night was a happy day. So I agree. You got to be all for it, man. You just have to.
Yeah, a little more of his post press conference. He said, "I get excited about the prospect of me working with Brian Pillman Jr., Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, Jungle Boy, Darby Allin, John Moxley." He says, "I've never worked a John Moxley before. Literally, it's everybody. Never done anything with the Young Bucks. My God, Punk and the Young Bucks, say goodnight. I've never stepped in the ring with Kenny Omega. Punk and Omega would be an incredible match that could tear down the house, for God's sakes." He said, "I think there's so many dream matches, which is what people will call them, or dream situations, and who knows who else is coming," which is maybe a hint there. "I'm excited to be here. I said it out there in the promo. I'm here for the fans. I'm here for me. I'm not a liar. I'm not going to lie. If you tell me this is going to be fun again and I can go out there and have the time of my life, that's the juice for me." And he said the first thing I wanted to do when I came out there was mention Britt Baker. This needs to be paid attention to. This is how you get talent over. This is how you help people. I think Britt's great. I think everybody here is great. If I could have name dropped everyone here, I would have, but that's just the one that popped into my head. So, and to him, the ice cream bars you mentioned here, Aaron, they represent an idea that was gift wrapped to people that didn't bother to take the time to try to understand their audience. This is the easiest home run I've ever hit, and this is a legit thank you. So, I mean, these are great words that he's saying in the post-game press conference here, man, that kind of overshadow everything else that we will be talking about on this show and over the weekend. People we talk about in pro wrestling with SummerSlam happening tonight. So it's just incredible how he was able to grab the wrestling world by the throat and shake them. And I think people who shit on him are jealous. I really think it's jealousy. I can't think of any other reason why you would have an issue with this overall. So like you said, it's good for wrestling. That's what's important. If you love pro wrestling, this is a good thing. It's good for wrestling. So you may have an issue with Punk as a person, or you may not like his wrestling style, but you can't say it's negative that he's back. It just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. And something else I want to add, I got the press release this morning from AEW, and it's all it says is I'm back. It's it. 2 words, I'm back. So there's your press release. Probably the best press release I've ever read, because I hate reading those things. But that was a lot of fun. So CM Punk is back. The world of wrestling is going to be, I feel like, set on a different course. And a lot of people in the chat were talking about SummerSlam. Like, are the chants of CM Punk going to take over SummerSlam? You betcha.
Yeah.
You betcha. It's going to be CM Punk Fest at SummerSlam. And how could it not be? You know, people are still going to be buzzing for that. Like WWE, you know, are they going to counter program? They don't have anything that can counter program that. Like, the only thing I could think of that could counter program that is if Macho Man Randy Savage came back from the dead. Like, that's it. Like, I don't think you can counter program that with anything. Like, it just doesn't. Yeah. It's just not. You got nothing. Like, I love Becky Lynch. Like, Becky Lynch is great. Generational talent, all that kind of stuff. She's not CM Punk. No offense.
Right.
I mean, I'll be happy as hell to see Becky Lynch if she shows up, but it's not the same. It's not the same.
If she delivers an 18-minute promo like he did, or a 20-minute segment like he did, then maybe. But I don't think so. Punk is he's transcendent in that way for the fans, and clearly last night showed you how transcendent he actually is. We had a couple of super chats that came through here. Tommy Tom says the Observer did a roster comparison between WWE and AEW, but just a number of wrestlers minus NXT, and it says a lot. Male is 32 on Raw, 24 on SmackDown, and 70 plus on AEW. You think this spread affects shows like all the repeat matches in WWE?
Well, I mean, they cut so many people. They've cut like 100 people in the past year. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
you would think, right, that WWE would be downsizing at this point. Like, are they going to one show? Like, what's the deal there? So I don't know I think that grand plan we haven't figured out yet. I think that AEW is going to come to a point where they've signed all these people that they're going to have to let some people go. It's just, that's the nature of business. That's the nature of life. They just haven't done it yet. But I mean, you have CM Punk, possibly Daniel Bryan. You've got, Miro. You've got all your top talent, John Moxley, and all those people that you're going to pay big dollars. Is there going to be a spot for a Joey Janela? I don't think so. Or a Sonny Kiss or somebody like that? I don't think so. So eventually it's going to happen to AEW, but I mean, the Raw and SmackDown rosters, I did not realize they were that depleted. That's very sad.
That is sad for sure. Brandon Jones says the difference between CM Punk and John Cena is CM Punk coming back to wrestling full-time is a great thing. Cena coming back is not a good thing because he's a part-time wrestler and Cena is a Hollywood star. And how many matches did Cena come back for? Look, when Cena came back that night, he said, I'm coming back. I'm not here for just a match or two. He said he was coming back for longer. And he's been showing up, but we'll see how many matches he actually wrestles. And, you can promise anything you want, but then you get that offer on the table for a certain movie and you're gone for 3 months or 6 months or whatever. That's the game. That's the game, and if you want to establish yourself, then do that. Too many, I think trying to play both sides without being honest to the fans is a big mistake. And you chose to walk the Rock path. Now that you've chosen to walk the Rock path, you can't scramble back and try to walk the Cena path all over again. You've walked the Rock path, so therefore you were on that path. That's it. So accept the slings and arrows that come with that. And yes, the barbs that you're a part-time guy now, just like you came after the Rock for doing because you chose to walk that path. And there's nothing wrong with that. You did what was best for you. You can't have it both ways. You can't be coming back when I love this and this is the greatest thing ever when you're going to sacrifice this greatest thing ever so that you can go do a movie or a TV series or what have you. It just doesn't work that way, in my overall opinion. Lifers are lifers. People who want to do both are not lifers. They're just not. And so that's the game as I look at it, in my personal opinion. But I think both Cena and Punk coming back is good. So I don't 100% agree with Brandon, but I do understand Brandon's point of view. What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Brandon, first of all, appreciate the super chat.
Yes, thank you, Brandon.
Just
very kind super chat.
I feel the same way I feel similar to how you feel. Like to the phrase John Cena coming back is not a good thing. Like, I don't know, it just irked me because I don't think I could ever say that. Like John Cena coming back is always good. Just like The Rock coming back is good.
Yes.
But it's also like, I'm also a hypocrite because it's like people like Goldberg to me is not good. So stuff like that. Like, I don't want to see The Undertaker come back either. Like, it's just, I think John Cena is different because John Cena is a guy that held the company on his back for 15 years straight and did everything like in and out and all that with it. And now is getting success outside of Hollywood. And he's got Suicide Squad and The Peacemaker and Fast and Furious. And that's great. That's wonderful. But every time John Cena shows up, his head's in the business. It's not like when John Cena shows up, he's Hollywood Cena and like I'm this different guy. His head is always there, dude. So and he's John Cena's business. So I don't know if I fully agree. Like I'm not a big fan of the part-time stuff either. Like I wish we could have him for a long time. But also, he said he's going to do the whole summer and all this kind of stuff and he's been going on live events. So I don't know what else we want to get out of John Cena. Like what else do you want to get out of him? Like, we'll see what happens tonight with the Universal Championship match. Cause if the title changes, I think that's pretty indicative of what they want to do with John Cena. I don't think it's going to, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. But I'm kind of lukewarm on your comment there. I got to be honest with you.
Well, thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it again. Roberto Arsenal says, I'm busy this Saturday morning, but just stopped by for a quick second. AEW and WWE competition is good for wrestling. I wish the best for both. Yeah, Aaron, that's another part of this thing. A lot of people are cheering the demise of the WWE, which will probably never happen. But this is good that we're getting at least someone competing with WWE in their minds or trying to compete with WWE in their minds. And getting those kinds of reactions from a sold-out Chicago arena is a positive for them. Promoting All Out, which is a couple of weeks from now, the same weekend that Shang-Chi comes out, so it's going to be a hell of a weekend. That's all positive. So to me, I think this is all a good thing overall. And Vince is never better than when competition threatens him. He really isn't. He knows how to shake the minds of his creative people to come to create stuff that's going to elevate the brand. So he did that with the Attitude Era. We've seen him do that with Cena. What is he going to do if AEW actually comes close to starting to chip away at the ratings? And look what he's done to NXT, which a lot of people feel is punishment for them losing to AEW. What do you think he'll do if AEW now starts to eclipse them or come close to eclipsing them with Raw and SmackDown ratings and the pay-per-view ratings as well?
Dude, I think that Vince McMahon, I think a lot, rarely does something get to Vince McMahon. I think when he sees competition, he's just like, all right.
Yeah.
He's like, sounds good. But I think that, somebody like Triple H, okay, they release Bray Wyatt, they release Braun Strowman, they release Aleister Black and Rusev and all these people, and then CM Punk debuts, and now you've got the possibility of Daniel Bryan, Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman, and all those people going to AEW. Vince may not care, Vince may not think it's a big deal, but I know there's people in that company that are like, oh God, if this happens the way that it's looking, this is not going to be good.
Yeah, and
it's just. I don't think, no offense, I don't think you can run, you can have that much success still, continued success with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins as your top guys when the other place has 7 to 10 top guys. So it just, I don't know, dude. I think Vince McMahon, is either crazy or there's some sort of master plan that he's smarter than all of us. I don't know what's going on.
It's hubris, man. That's what it always is. It's hubris. This idea that I can't be beat. I've beaten everybody I've ever come in contact with. I've bought their companies after I beat them. I've done all these things. So no one can touch me. No one can beat. And, as Ric Flair once said, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And no one has been able to beat Vince consistently to the point where Vince is selling his company. Now, a lot of people felt because he was cutting salaries and all those kind of things that they might be preparing for a sale. If he does sell, then that's a whole nother game. And maybe that's why he's kind of allowing all of this to happen, because he's like, well, I'm going to take my money, roll off into the sunset and do whatever I want to do. And somebody else can handle it and deal with it. I'm undefeated. I'm retiring undefeated. That could be possible for Vince in that scenario, but I think he likes the competition. I don't think if AEW comes up and starts threatening him and starts doing things, and here's another part of this, Aaron, getting this kind of talent means that you can start demanding the same arenas that the WWE does. You can start demanding the same number, and now you start comparing attendance figures. Then it becomes a whole nother ball game when you actually have hard facts to back up and numbers on a ledger to back up how successful you're becoming and how you're threatening the business model of the WWE and their profits. That's a possibility as well down the road. And you start to look like an established company. Once you start to show up at bigger arenas, the second AEW sells out a 50,000, 75,000 seat arena, we've jumped to a whole nother level and stratosphere for AEW to exist in. But once you do, there's demands and expectations, and AEW is going to find out that it's different being the hunter than being the hunted, and that's going to be interesting to see, because when WCW was riding high, they fucked that all up once they got to be the top dog, and eventually came crashing down the earth and then sold themselves to Vince. You hope that doesn't happen with AEW, man.
I want to go to something. Philly Jackson in the chat, he said they can't deny this, especially Vince. You can't. It doesn't matter. Vince McMahon himself saw a clip, heard about CM Punk showing up at Rampage, and knows about it, and he's probably like, well, shit. You know what I mean? So it's known. It's a big thing. And that's the reception for CM Punk, the reception for Britt Baker is something you can sell to these arenas and these televisions. Well, look at this. Do you know how many views on Twitter that clip of CM Punk just coming out got in a half an hour? Yeah. 1.4 million. 1.4 million. It's unbelievable, dude. Just that's game changing. You go to somebody like TNT and you're like, hey, we have this wrestling company. Okay, well, who you got in it? CM Punk just came back. All right. Okay. How do you I guarantee you that Fox, especially when they had CM Punk for backstage, is pissed.
Yeah.
Because they're how could you not get this guy back and like different stuff? So
right.
Do I think that AEW is close to competition on Vince? No. Do I think it'll be some time before they're actually like really, really competition? Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit. Let's like CM Punk coming back is huge, huge for the wrestling business, huge for us fans. Will it move the needle? Absolutely.
Right.
But it remains to be seen if we can be consistent because Vince is the old stalwart, dude. He's like, it just doesn't go away. Like it's a proven brand. It's like the NFL. Like I don't want to compare AEW to the XFL because I think they're better than that. But it's like oddly enough run by Vince McMahon originally. But it's like you can come in here and try to take down the NFL, or you can come in here and try to take down Major League Baseball. But they're the old stalwart, dude. Like it's going to take some time.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Good point. Gramash says, "I told you your top 3 dream matches in AEW. #happy." I think Punk laid them all out, in my opinion. Punk versus Omega for me. Punk versus Hangman Page, and I mean maybe even Punk versus Sting could be an awesome match all over again. And if you bring in Bray Wyatt or Daniel Bryan, that's a great combo to put together as well. Have Punk going against either one of those guys. So I love that idea. What do you got with dream matches for Punk and AEW?
Of course, I said Punk versus Pac, Punk versus Malachi Black. Punk versus MJF. Like it's just, there you go. Like he will dress down MJF on the mic and it'll be beautiful.
Yeah.
But
Punk
he will make him
MJF.
But he will make him better at the same time. And that's all. That's what's most important.
Yeah, absolutely. I like this other Punk Haskell saying Punk versus Cody. Holy mackerel. What if you play out the Austin angle with Punk trying to call out Cody for some of the decisions he's made over the last few years? That could be something, Aaron. That could be a little fire as well. Will the match be fire? I don't know, but that could be fire as well.
It depends on how they want to do it. Like, does Punk come on the mic and say, Dusty's kids running this place or something like that? Like just throwing jabs. It's just, I don't know. Haskell says check the Streamlabs.
Yeah, just about to. Okay. We got a few of these here. Haskell, that's why he wants to check. He sent some in. Thank you very much, Haskell, Eddie. He said, hey, John and Aaron, well, after years of BS rumors, it actually happened. CM Punk is back in pro wrestling, which was great how he said, I left pro wrestling in 2005 and came back to it in 2021. Great shot at Vince. This pop was one of the biggest, akin to Punk at Money in the Bank 2011 and Rock as the WrestleMania host. Part of me wanted MJF to come out to Cult of Personality instead because the epic and amount of heat he would get would have been legendary. I get why they didn't, but man, too bad we can't see this in a multiverse angle, LOL. Yeah, I mean, yeah, go ahead, Aaron. Go ahead.
I 100% agree. If MJF came out there, nuclear heat. Nuclear heat. But unfortunately, he's kind of still strapped to Chris Jericho, so it's not going to happen. And I think that's the kind of booking that you would want to do. That's the thing that we would want to do. Like that's fan booking that we would want to do. But I think from a business standpoint, they did it the right way.
Yeah, and I think so too. Let him stand on his own for one night. Then you can start bringing people in to interrupt or whatever and all that kind of jazz. That's totally fine down the road. But let him have the one night because this is a unique coming. It isn't like Chris Jericho when he came to the WWF or WWE at the time. Like he came in, interrupted the Rock's promo. That was an introduction of Jericho in the WWE. He hadn't been away for like 7 years. That's a whole nother thing. So this was the way. It was the perfect way to present him. And there'll be plenty of time to create that nuclear heat, as you said, down the road. And curious.
Go ahead.
Yep. No. Curious that Jericho wasn't there last night. So interesting. But go ahead.
He wasn't he on commentary?
He wasn't on commentary right off the bat. No, he wasn't.
Okay. Maybe he wasn't.
They even excused the fact that he wasn't on commentary.
Okay. I couldn't remember. Haskell, I do like it though. And what MJF could do. Think about this. That Daniel Bryan's song in Ring of Honor was the Final Countdown, right? So what happens if they start playing the Final Countdown? Everybody thinks it's Daniel Bryan, but no, it's MJF. Like there's some nuclear heat for you, like MJF and Daniel Bryan. Come on, give it to me.
I'm down with that. Before we get into 3 more of these Streamlabs, just remind you all, we got 130 you all watching us live right now.
Awesome.
We appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank you very much. Please make sure you hit that like button as you're watching us. Hit that like button. All those numbers help for us overall as a show and the channel, the Outlaw Nation channel as well. And keep saying in your Streamlabs and Super Chats as we go along here. Christian Ramos says CM Punk returning felt like when Simba went back to Pride Rock. ECW.
All right.
ECW Ring of Honor legend. It seems like AEW can make debuts matter. Jericho was right in saying AEW wants to story build like the MCU. I can't wait for Bryan Danielson, Buddy Murphy, Flair, and Ruby's debut. Oh, Ruby Riott. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. That's going to be interesting too. Ric Flair's going to, I thought he's going to NWA. Where's Ric Flair going?
Well, he is going to the NWA 73 pay-per-view that they're doing, but I think it's just a one-shot deal. I fully expect Flair to be in AEW
with him and Arn and Tully. Oh, son of a!
Come on now. It's so funny, dude. It's so funny. Like, it changed everything. Like my buddies and I were talking. Like we're not the biggest AEW fans in the world, and
right?
They're like telling me, they're like, God, now we got to watch AEW. Like, they've got good stuff. Like, I'm telling you, dude, they're on a roll.
Is Barry Windham still alive?
Yes.
I'm just saying, bring back
and Lex.
And Lex. Well, you can't wheel Lex in there, but Barry.
Oh, he can still walk somewhat.
Sorry.
JJ Dillon. No, is JJ Dillon die? I'm going to double check that.
JJ Dillon's still around.
I'm going to double check that.
Yeah, why don't you check?
I don't want to besmirch JJ Dillon.
JJ's still alive. 79.
He's still alive.
Old.
79. You can bring in JJ, man. How cool,
JJ.
Dude? How cool would it be? I cannot believe I'm fantasy booking AEW, but like, so Arn is in the backstage with Tully. They're talking to Tully.
Oh, he is already. Dylan is in AEW backstage already.
There you go. All right. So what if there's a scenario where like Tully and Arn are talking backstage and all of a sudden Flair walks up? Like, just come on now. Like, you can't beat that.
Yeah. Woo! Oh man, that'd be incredible.
I'd love to see that because of all the Ric Flair stuff you saw while Ric Flair was trending on Twitter. Am I right? Woo!
He's denied it. He's denied it. He said it's not it.
Listen, I know it's fake. I know it's not. Well, it's real, but it's not Ric Flair.
Yeah.
I want to believe that it's Ric Flair. But also at the same time, he said, I don't ride trains, which I was like, that makes sense. Because he's a limousine riding, jet flying son of a gun.
Nothing said the train was moving. He could have just done it on the break.
I saw that picture before anyone put the Ric Flair context in it. And I was like, that looks like Ric Flair. And then it exploded. And I was like, wow, that's tremendous.
I loved it. I thought it was great. It's perfect Ric Flair picture, even though it's not Ric Flair. Justin Toner, what's up, Justin? Good to see you, brother, man. Thanks for all the comments in the chat. He says, hi, John and Aaron. CM Punk debut was well done by AEW. Kudos to Tony Khan. Looking forward to your SummerSlam and TakeOver predictions. Did either of you watch Keith Lee's video where he talked about the health issue that kept him off TV? Scary stuff. I have it. Did you watch it, Aaron? Have you watched it?
Yeah, I did watch it. We were out last week, so we didn't get to talk about it. So yeah. Keith Lee got COVID. That was the initial thing. So he was out for a couple of weeks, and then he had some complications from that, which ended up being a heart issue. And for the most part, Keith Lee is fully recovered. I mean, he said that there was some really dark times there. Yeah. But Mia Yim, his girlfriend or fiance, I'm not sure, was by his side the whole time. So shout out to Mia Yim for being awesome. And he's made a full recovery back on television. And I wish nothing but the best for Keith Lee. I hope it's not a lingering issue. I hope everything has cleared up because you don't want that happening. But Keith Lee's a big guy, so it couldn't have been easy for him.
Yep.
So I'm glad that he's back. Peculiar that happened, and then like WWE hasn't done anything with him. Like to me, that would make Keith Lee like a hell of a baby face, like to come back, especially if this video drops. Like it would make him like very sympathetic. But once again, don't know what the WWE's doing these days. So there you go.
A fair point. It's a fair point. I think it's great that he did that video. You know, the more videos that come out, maybe they sway even more people to take this thing more seriously. I mean, just reading about people taking horse dewormers or what the fuck is going on, man? Just take the goddamn thing and put a mask on. All right, Joseph Curran, and be careful because, you know,
please,
this stuff can affect you. And even an incredible athlete, Keith Lee, can be affected in such devastating ways. Joseph Curran said, "Hey fellas, I had the privilege of going to AEW when they were in Charlotte, North Carolina. It was an incredible experience because crowds at AEW bring so much passion and love to the product. I can only imagine what last night was like." Yeah, I mean, Aaron, we got a couple of people who were at the arena sending us videos. So pretty incredible stuff. But yeah, do you agree with Joseph's statement here?
100%, man. Like I've been to one AEW show live. That's when they were very early. I went to Fighter Fest, and it was very early in their run. So yeah, the crowd's very passionate. I liken it to the crowd at Full Sail when NXT was like in its real heyday, and Full Sail crowd was insane.
Yes.
But on a much bigger scale. Like they are so passionate for this product, for better or worse. Yeah. They are passionate about this product. You don't see that in WWE. Like, no offense. Like John Cena comes back, gets a huge pop from everybody because everybody knows who John Cena is, but they love who they love, dude. And they will fight you to the death. Believe me, I've seen it on Twitter.
Yeah, shout out to Chris Lemke, who posted a picture and sent it to us and said he was there last night with pictures outside the arena. Pretty incredible stuff. So shout out to them. Let's see what else we got here. Another Streamlab came through as I was reading that one from Joseph Curran. Chris Rigby. Hey, Chris, he said, off topic, but with What If coming out, what wrestling storylines, angles, or scenarios would you want to see given the what if treatment? Personally, would love to see what if Brian Pillman cut the Austin 316 promo, or what if Bret Hart didn't leave the WWE? Very interesting. What do you got there? That's a great idea, actually.
The first one that popped in my head was, what if Shawn Michaels went to WCW? Like during that 90s run, like what if Shawn Michaels went to WCW and joined the NWO? Like what would that have looked like?
Right.
I don't think Hogan would have ever let him do it, but what would that have looked like? What would WWE Network look like if it wasn't Peacock? That was from Jeremy Miller. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? So that's the first one that popped in my head. Like what if Shawn Michaels went to WCW during the Monday Night Wars?
Right.
That would have sunk WWE. Sunk them.
Yeah.
At that time.
God, there's a million that pop in my head. Right? What if Nash and Hall never leave WWE? There's no NWO in the WCW. There's not even a competition where the WWE is threatened in any way, shape, or form. There's maybe not DX, maybe not even the Attitude Era. What happens to pro wrestling if Hall and Nash don't leave the WWE to start the NWO with Hogan? What would happen at that point? I mean, there's no way Hogan could have turned anybody in the WCW that would have had the same kind of effect as it did with Hall and Nash. That's another part of this. As what if what's the other one? What if Magnum TA had been injured? What if I mean, there's so many if you start dancing around with looking at this, you know.
What if Sting came over in the initial WCW buyout and wrestled The Undertaker at WrestleMania? Like, what if?
That's a great point.
What if WWE never dissolved WCW?
Yeah.
What if?
Yeah.
What if they just kept it going? Like, what if WWE never dissolved ECW? Just kept it going? Like, there's a lot of questions out there. Like, that's cool. That's cool. That's a cool question. I like that.
That could be fun to explore some point down the road, making separate videos about what if and this. I got some ideas. All right. Gramash as well as a super chat here. He sent in. Sorry. Let me take a look at this. Gramash says, are you going to do an all-out watch-along watch-along now? Please.
I'm going to tell you maybe, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay. We will be on, if we do, we would be on links to, I think, Fight TV. So I don't know if everybody would be on the same time frame.
Yeah.
So that's where I would get it, is Fight TV.
Maybe. Fair enough.
Maybe.
All right.
If you got time, I got time. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll see if we can make some time for that one. Absolutely. That wouldn't be a bad. What if the screw job had never happened? That's a good one.
Yeah.
What if Owen Hart had not died in that pay-per-view? That's another one as well. Is Owen Hart like a Hall of Fame wrestler that eclipses his own brother if Owen Hart doesn't die in that situation? What if The Rock doesn't come back after the Rocky Maivia situation and his retooling doesn't work? How does that change the business? Right? I mean, there's so much that you can play around. Yeah.
What if Stone Cold never comes back after his neck injury?
Right.
What if Owen Hart doesn't injure Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Yeah.
Is he more over than ever before? You know what I mean? Like,
what if the invasion was good?
That's what I'm saying. Like, what if they didn't dissolve WCW and all that stuff? So
yeah, what if they didn't fuck up the NWO coming into the WWE? What about that?
It was never going to work.
It was such a dumb idea. I was happy, but it was such a dumb idea. You know, what if the other wrestlers had understood that, you know, they had to lose to the NWO to get the NWO over? What if they didn't have their pride get in the way of that? What would that have been like? All right, that's all the Streamlabs Super Chats we have right now. Please keep sending them in as we go along with the rest of the show. My God, we've spent almost an hour on the CM Punk and your questions, so thank you very much. 125 of you watching right now, so please hit that like button as we go along. All right, what if Aaron and Jeremy understood that all you can eat? Oh, Jesus Christ. Who is this? And that's an offensive fucking comment. Jesus Christ, dude. I'm going to block you. You're blocked. So what a dick.
I don't eat from the buffet, but I got you.
Yeah. What a dick. All right, let's move on to our next thing here. And of course, we'll keep tabs on CM Punk, but I think we got some Roman Reigns words to discuss here, Aaron. What is that?
Well, guess what? We're not done with CM Punk. We got more to talk about. So in an interview this week from BT Sport, a good friend of the show, not really, but Ariel Helwani, former UFC MMA guy, very, very good insider, interviewed Roman Reigns, our tribal chief.
Yes.
And a myriad of topics came up, and he was talking about part-timers and John Cena and The Rock. And Roman Reigns had some words, man, for CM Punk. Name drop CM Punk, which was surprising. Yes, he said, I'll just kind of dumb it down to this. He said, when it comes down to it, CM Punk was not as good or as over as John Cena.
Yeah.
Wasn't as good or as over or moved the needle like The Rock. It just was what it was. Now, I knew that the internet would absolutely shit on this, as they probably should have. But my wrestling side says he's a heel. So, of course, he's going to say heel stuff. But parts of it is not exactly wrong.
Okay.
First of all, I don't know if this was the time to say it because he really ate it last night for sure. Ate it big time.
Oh, my God. Didn't he?
But it just, the timing was weird. It was weird to drop CM Punk's name. It was odd. Roman Reigns is a guy that is less scripted on WWE TV than most. So I don't know if this was Roman shooting from the hip. Was this a directive? I don't know what this was. I like to think that Roman is smart enough to know business and know how to do that. I mean, essentially, he's putting their people over, right?
Yeah.
So it just, like, part of me is like, this is a work. Like, he doesn't really think that way. But part of me is like, maybe he does feel that way and he might be an idiot. I don't know. But the comments were weird. I don't know. What'd you think?
Well, first of all, Ariel Helwani did this on purpose. Like, this is not this. He wanted controversy. He likes the attention. Don't let reporters or talking heads in these positions lie to you that their egos aren't what drives them to get on top and stay on top. They need to create controversy. They see the Stephen A. Smith blueprint and they want to follow it. So Helwani was already got in trouble with the MMA stuff because I think Dana White called him out and incorrectly so. Incorrectly so. I think that was an unfair attack on Ariel. But this is a guy trying to establish himself. So he asked a leading question to put on the table, but Roman Reigns picked it up and ran with it. He didn't have to either. Roman Reigns could have left it alone, but he commented on it. And I think this is interesting when he says, and listen, I like Roman Reigns. I liked him when he was with the Shield. I liked him when people were shitting on him. And the fact that he's really kind of embraced finally being a fan favorite of the WWE is great. But he's only got to the head of the table 5 minutes ago. So this idea of being able to talk like you're knowledgeable about this kind, to me is a little bit out of line and out of turn for him. But he's got every right to express his opinion, and we've got every right to express our opinion about his opinion. And I just think he's way off base here. And him calling, those statements come from bitter people who possibly thought they were better than they really were. I find that to be an unnecessary shot to a guy who can't even come close to achieving a pop that CM Punk got last night. It's not his place to say this kind of shit when he's taken so much crap from the fans and had to overcome so many things to achieve what he's achieved. It's great that he's here now and people do like him, but he ain't anywhere near Punk. So for him to say that kind of stuff, I think is completely off base. And I think it's also, and I know this from my own personal experience, sometimes people are sent out there representing a brand to specifically undercut something that's going to happen, to specifically crap on something that's going to happen, or someone from another brand or another organization or another company on purpose. And I think Reigns was sent out there to essentially toe the company line, be the good company man, and shit on Punk before Punk's debut. And it completely backfired on him. It really did, as you said last night, showing this kind of thing. And he said he was not over a Cena. Well, comparing Punk to Cena or Rock is the wrong comparison, because Cena and Rock are mainstream guys. And you guys know I am a stand for The Rock. I'm a number one fan of The Rock. And Cena, I've gone back and forth on Cena, but you can't.
I'll be the John Cena guy.
Fine, you be the John Cena guy. But Punk is not that. Punk doesn't strive for the mainstream acceptance that those two guys strive for. Those two guys liked being the company man. They enjoy being the company man. They like the status that comes with being the company man because of their psychological makeup. And there's nothing wrong with that. Punk is not Cena or Rock. He's not trying to be this John Cena or The Rock. You don't see him running off. I mean, yes, I know he's in heels, but he's not running off to be part of the MCU. He's not running off part of the DC universe or anything like that, or work with The Rock and the Hobbs and Shaw. He's not doing any of that. He's a lifer. Do you know what I'm saying? And so it's a different situation for CM Punk. He tried to do other things, certainly explore other things, but his heart is always in wrestling. So it's the wrong comparison. That being said, CM Punk at the time was being booked as main event on a lot of these pay-per-views and the big pay-per-views in WWE. The reason he left was they were going to continually book him to lose to these top guys, and he didn't want to do that anymore. So you saying, like, I went back and forth with some idiot on Twitter this morning who was like, well, Punk didn't sell out an 80,000 seat stadium and therefore he's not on level. I'm like, yeah, because Vince didn't book him to be in that match. If Vince had booked him in the main event of these matches, is now all of a sudden CM Punk the status of Rock or Cena? No, Punk is a different kind of wrestler, but his is a groundswell. His is something else. So it's a different point of view. Reigns is trying to be what The Rock is, and Reigns is not trying to be what Punk is. So to compare those two, or to me, those two situations are just incorrect. They're apples and oranges, in my opinion. But what do you think, Aaron?
What's confusing about it is I think we can all agree, and there will be some detractors, that Roman Reigns is the top guy in professional wrestling, bar none.
Sure.
You could argue Kenny Omega if you want. You're wrong. Right. But Roman Reigns is the top guy in the top company, therefore that makes him the top guy in my opinion. Until yesterday, maybe. So for a guy to do that, toe the company line is exactly what I was going to say. That's exactly what he did. Yeah. And it's cheap heat, dude. Like, yeah, it's cheap heat. It's cheap. It's cheap. Yeah. He could have said, like, these people are whining and stuff and not name drop CM Punk. Once he name dropped CM Punk, it was completely different because then it was personal. Right. And it just wasn't necessary to do that. Like, I feel like that was a note from like a writer, like, make sure you mention CM Punk. That he's
absolutely, or Vince. Yes. Yeah.
But Roman's going to do what Roman's going to do. What Roman's going to do, man. Like, it sucks that it had to happen this way. I think for the most part, people with a sane mind for the business don't agree. I don't know how you could with that, because CM Punk is the counterculture, like you said. Like, CM Punk wrote comic books. Like, CM Punk was in independent horror films. Like, he wanted to do stuff that he wanted to do. Right. So it's kind of disappointing, like, honestly, that this happened, and especially the night, like, they tried to take the piss out of it, and they seriously they got pissed in their mouth. Yeah, like, and I guarantee you they're going to see CM Punk chant all the fuck through that Roman Reigns match. Oh, you better believe it. All through it. The second he botches a move, all through it. Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah, that's where we are with it. Well, and Zeno Hour said, also CM Punk said Roman Reigns is the best character in wrestling a month or so ago, so I don't understand Roman's beef here. Yeah, I mean,
Sometimes this is part of being the company man. Is you get, I mean, Rollins got in trouble for saying the same shit, right? About independent wrestling companies versus the WWE, saying the best wrestlers are here. You know, they get in trouble. Or Triple H saying all the female wrestlers, if you want to be a female wrestler of note, you got to wrestle for the WWE. These are the comments, right? And those are controversial comments, but they're being sent out because you're trying to defend the Shield and protect the brand. That's what it's all about, you know. And they, 3/4 of the time they don't believe the shit they're saying, but they know they got to say it because they got to get that paycheck. So it's an unfortunate situation here because I don't think Roman Reigns has the stature or the cachet to say shit like this. Seriously, he just got to be the top dog a year ago, for God's sakes. Like, to me, it doesn't make any sense to me at all. You know?
I think if you want like an anecdote about CM Punk and the kind of guy that he is, that interview with Colt Cabana that he did post WWE, he said that something to the effect, and I'm paraphrasing here because I don't know all the facts, but he said that he got a check for $10,000 from, I think, like 2K for the WWE game. He found it underneath a couch cushion. Like, this guy is just not like, he's not that kind of guy, man.
Yeah.
He's just different. He's just different.
Right. He marches to a different drum. And a lot of people, drum beat, and a lot of people like that, you know, and that's okay. That's a good thing. So trying to shit on it is just, and also, and here's the thing also, Aaron, when the supposed top dog is punching down figuratively, that's good for you. If you're the person who is considered lower in terms of status as a company, that is good for your company. When they're talking about you, that is good for your company. So all that did was help CM Punk last night. I bet they're even more vociferous as if they weren't already ready to be loud for Punk. I think they were even more vociferous last night after those comments by Roman Reigns. So
can you imagine the next time that WWE goes to Chicago?
Oh my God.
It's going to get ugly.
Good luck. Yeah. All right, see if we got any more Streamlabs or super chats that have come through. No, but Luis Peroso has subscribed. Thank you very much. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please feel free to subscribe down below. We'd appreciate it madly. Keep us marching. We're close to 18,000 subscribers, so please get us closer. We'd be really nice. All right, and keep saying in your Streamlabs super chats pinned in the chat, in the description of this video, and right above Aaron's head. Where shall we go next, my man?
Yeah, somebody buy me a 6-pack of Oktoberfest tonight. Anyway, we're moving on to SummerSlam predictions. So all that talk about CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Now we're going to talk about SummerSlam, the biggest party of the summer. It's tonight.
Yes.
Question mark. So it's going down in Las Vegas at the LA. What am I talking about? The Las Vegas Raiders Stadium. Allegiant Stadium. Thank you. Why was I thinking T-Mobile? I think that's a different arena there. But anyway. Yeah. So we'll go through the SummerSlam card. We'll talk about who we think is going to win and maybe things that might happen. So we'll start at the top. AJ Styles and Omos versus RK Bro, which is Riddle and Randy Orton for the Raw Tag Team titles. Who you got here?
Well, you know, last time they fought, I thought for sure AJ Styles and Omos were going to win. Now I think because of the heat, what can I say this? Because of the status of RK Bro, I think they're absolutely going to win themselves. This is great for Randy Orton, isn't it? I mean, he's finding new life at this later stage in his career, doing all the things that he's doing. He's still in incredible shape. And the promos with him and Matt Riddle, who I'm not the biggest fan of, have really worked. So to me, I think the fans are over on them. And I think AJ Styles and Omos are a boring tag team together. AJ Styles is incredible without him. And I think it doesn't work, and I think they're going to give him to RK Bro, let him run for it for a bit. What do you think?
I think you're exactly right, because I think RK Bro is such a fan favorite tag team right now that it makes sense, man. Like, as much as you guys don't like Riddle, Rocha included, the guy, people love this guy.
I know they do.
I like him. I like what he does. Nice guy, and it's just. I think this works. I think it's the time. And AJ Styles, God, he needs to do something else. AJ Styles is arguably the best wrestler in the world. I will argue that to the death. Right. He just needs to do other things. Stop it. So yeah, I'm going with RK Bro as well.
Okay. All right. What's next?
So the next match is a triple threat match for the Raw Women's Championship. It is Rhea Ripley, the former champion, versus Charlotte Flair, another former champion, versus Nikki ASH, the current champion. So who we got here?
I got to go with ASH. She just got the belt. I think they want to give one more opportunity for her to get fully over. And if they find a way for her to have a convincing victory over Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair, if these two ladies are willing to put it all on the line and get her over for now, I think that's going to be I think they're going to try one more time to get her established and let her have a really strong victory here and then set up separate feuds with them down the road. So I think this is the way. I think that's what's going to happen tonight. And I hope it happens because I think giving it to her for just a few weeks means nothing, especially when you sacrifice Charlotte Flair for it. It just doesn't make sense. What do you think?
Whatever happens, whatever the outcome is, I would like to get Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley away from each other. Like we've seen it too much.
True.
It's time to move on. The test will be, or we will find out tonight how much WWE values Nikki Cross or Nikki ASH as a champion.
Yeah.
If she loses, they don't care. If she keeps it, then they think they've got something. So it's going to be a real litmus test to see what happens with Nikki here. And like get Rhea and Charlotte away from this, get them doing other stuff. Yeah, because there's going to be an influx of NXT talent. We can talk about that when we talk about the NXT preview.
Yeah,
there's going to be an influx of NXT talent. It's going to happen. So there's going to be feuds available and feuds ready. The draft is coming up. So let's just get these two away from each other and see what we got in Nikki Cross. I think with that being said, that Nikki will win. I think she will.
Yeah, you think so? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What's the next one?
This is a match that I would just not to happen, and that is Eva Marie with Doudrop versus Alexa Bliss, two characters, John.
Yeah,
that I'm done with. I was never with Eva Marie to begin with, and poor Alexa Bliss. Like this sucks. Like, get her to do something else.
What was the point of dropping Bray Wyatt and essentially confirming that Alexa Bliss's gimmick, which is obviously taken from Bray Wyatt? You want her to represent that gimmick overall. That's why you drop Bray Wyatt and then put her into something like this. This is such a waste. Eva is not a good wrestler. She's not a good personality people gravitate to overall. Do people think she's hot and they follow her on Instagram because she's hot?
For sure.
Yes, of course. And there's nothing wrong with that. Plenty of people trade in on their looks to get attention, to get clicks, likes, followers, whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. Does she work hard to try to be good? Yes. I've seen the videos. I've seen her in training. Like someone posted a training one of her that I watched, and I was like, this is great, but it doesn't show up in the ring. And that's the thing. Like you showed me a lot of stuff from the Iconics. Great stuff. Doesn't show up in the ring. So this is the thing that at the end of the day that I think is such a waste here. And the fans just rebelled like crazy at this. I saw it on Twitter on the WWE feed when they posted it. The amount of comments that tore it to pieces was just overwhelming. So this is just a shame overall. I'm sure Alexa wins, but it does nothing for anybody in this match. Not Doudrop, not Eva Marie, and not Alexa for sure. So
I think that Alexa may not be the most skilled wrestler either, but she's entertaining and people like her. And she's so snake bit, right? Like, she gets heat for like no reason. It feels like she gets heat because like they gave her essentially the Fiend character. Like she didn't choose that.
Yeah.
And this stupid shit. Like I don't understand why she gets so much heat. Like, and this is going to do her no favors. So it's like a pick'em of who you hate less. So I'll go with Alexa Bliss because I hate her less.
Well, I think she gets heat because people like you say she's not good in the ring, and that's bullshit. I think she's fucking great in the ring.
I said she's not the best in the ring. Is what I said.
Yeah, but that implies that she's not that good. You know it does when you say someo's not the best in the ring.
She's not Charlotte Flair. She's no Charlotte Flair, and I don't think anybody would argue that.
I bet she's hit her Twisted Bliss way more times than Charlotte Flair's hit her that stupid little thing that she does that she never hits anybody in a believable way.
You got me there.
Yeah, I'm just saying. But I think Alexa's way better in the ring than people give her credit for. She tells a great story when she's in the ring, and she is fantastic in terms of the acting in matches as you see as the match goes along. She's great at it. You love to hate her and you love to love her, and she's fantastic. And I think people are jealous. That's what they see, a beautiful, blonde, successful, good-looking girl, and they get upset about that. That's what I think. But anyway. All right, where are we off to? Because she's a sweetheart. You see her on there. She's always. I mean, her thing for her pig. Jesus Christ, she was devastated, man. It was tough to watch. All right, where are we off to next, man?
All right, so Sheamus, the United States champion, versus Damian Priest for the United States Championship in a real pick'em here, because Sheamus has done a decent job being United States champion, although he's really not had a formidable opponent. He's been doing a lot of matches with Ricochet and Humberto Carrillo. Now he gets a test. And this is also one of those matches where I think we're going to see what WWE thinks of Damian Priest. Yeah. Because when he came up from NXT, there was a lot of talk about how good Damian Priest is and how much they liked him. Of course, they put him in that celebrity match with Bad Bunny. They trusted him enough to be in that match with Bad Bunny in that big spot. So I think Damian Priest is going to win. I think he's going to get his first singles title here. Yeah,
I think, look, I like Sheamus as a wrestler. He's a fellow Liverpool fan. And I dig Sheamus as a human being. I love his comments and his interviews, and seems like a genuinely awesome. I'll even watch his workout videos sometimes on his social media. He's a really cool guy. But you know, the fans don't always get behind Sheamus, and this is a title that doesn't really help Sheamus in any way, shape, or form. This could help Damian Priest. So I agree with you. I think Damian Priest wins this as a way of establishing himself further with the fans, and they take a chance and see how the fans react to him running with the belt and what he can do with it. Sheamus will be back. He's always there. Yeah. It's hard to believe. Like, he's now pretty much a hardcore veteran in the WWE. I still remember when he came in as a bit of a youngin and beat Triple H for the title. And so it's so interesting to think that he's now one of these veterans who's been there for a long time, and he's going to get chances and opportunities. But Damian Priest wins here.
100% agree.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the next match, which I know you've got a stake in for sure, is the former WWE champion Drew McIntyre versus another former WWE champion, the modern-day Maharaja, Jinder Mahal, in this grudge match. Yeah. I'm going to surprise you here, John. I think I'm not hindering the Jinder. I think Jinder is going to beat Drew McIntyre.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
I have seen nothing that makes me think they're going to let Jinder win this match. Drew's been giving interviews all up and down the strip for people, and he's been like, out. He's got a biography that came out. Like, he's got all this stuff. I don't see him losing to Jinder, even though I want Jinder to win, because it feels like if he loses to Jinder, they're kind of burying him a little bit, and I don't know if they're ready to do that to Drew just yet. And of course, in real life, Drew got COVID, and I saw his interview with a doctor or whatever talking about it. And so it's like, he's been through a lot, and also losing his spot to Lashley with the fans. I think they have to give him the victory here, but I think people are going to be surprised how good this match actually is. I think that's the shock of the night, is how much people are going to be talking about this match tomorrow. That's my prediction. So I think Drew wins.
I like both guys, and I think that it's another test for Jinder. Like, what can Jinder do?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, we're going to see that a lot, I think, on this pay-per-view. I think that's the theme. Like, what can Nikki ASH do? What can Damian Priest do? What can Jinder Mahal do now that we're going to give him a second run? Can he look menacing with his dudes and be WWE champion again, or at least be in the mix? Probably. Right. So I think that's the way to go. Big win over Drew McIntyre would definitely jumpstart that trajectory for him again.
What are you off to next then?
So our next one is the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, which is the Usos, the champions, versus Rey and Dominic Mysterio. A rematch of pay-per-view last time, or pay-per-view match. So it looks like this is never ending. So I'll just take the Usos because I don't care.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Usos as well. I don't give a shit. Dominic is so boring. I'm sorry. I know.
Whoa.
I'm sorry. I know he's the son of Rey. I love Rey to pieces. I'm Latino. I love to represent Latinos, but I'm also telling the truth here. And in my opinion, or my truth rather, and in my opinion, I just don't find Dominic that interesting as a wrestler. So sorry. I think the Usos are incredible. I love watching the Usos wrestle. So, I mean, yeah. So I just don't think I don't think you take the titles. I think they get the victory. I don't think you take the titles off of them.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Next match is for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. Maybe. Yeah. There's reports going around. Initially, it was confirmed that the match was happening, and then it was off, and now it's happening. And Sasha Banks was not at SmackDown in Phoenix last night, while Bianca Belair was. Right. And now we're getting conflicting reports. Nobody's confirmed that this match is actually going to take place between Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. I think it will, or they would have. What time is it? So it's like 4:21 Eastern. They would have said something by now.
Okay.
That's going to happen. So I'll assume it's going on. I think Bianca Belair will win. And I think, again, what does Bianca Belair have? What do they have with her going forward? Big win for her. Statement win over Sasha Banks.
Yeah. All right. All right. Where are we off? I think Bianca Belair wins as well. I think Sasha's done all this buildup, and there's been that controversy around Sasha. So if this happens, I think Bianca wins. And they're using her music to do promos for the company overall now. That tells me they want to stay with her for a little bit. So I think Bianca wins this match for sure.
Sounds like a plan.
Yep.
Our next match is a grudge match, years in the making. We have Edge, the Hall of Famer, versus that weasel, Seth Rollins. If you watched SmackDown last night, the Brood music came back, and for a second, I thought we were getting Gangrel, but no, Seth Rollins got a bloodbath, and it was awesome until CM Punk came out. Then that kind of changed everything.
Yes.
But I think Edge will win this, and it will be a hell of a match. What do you got?
I don't know where to go with this one, to be honest with you, because you want to say Edge because why bring him back to keep losing? But then again, he's an older guy, so putting the younger guys or the guys in their prime over is kind of the job of because people did that for Edge. So I don't know. And how many times can we say, oh, Rollins doesn't lose anything in losing this match before he starts to start losing something in losing these matches? So I'm in a weird place about it. I'm going to go with Rollins.
Wow. Okay.
But I imagine Edge is probably going to win, but I'm going to hedge my bets and go with Rollins here because Rollins is such a great wrestler, and Rollins is in his prime, and they want to set up this Rollins versus Reigns thing down the road. So they've got to set it up in a way that he is getting victories and looking like a formidable champion or a potential champion. So I think that's the key here. Do you think this is a double DQ? Do you think this is a DQ situation?
I hope not on a big 4 pay-per-view. I really hope it doesn't go that way.
Okay. All right.
And where is Cesaro? Like, Cesaro beat Rollins at WrestleMania, and it's like, I know he was kind of injured for a minute, but like, where'd he go?
That's a good point.
Forgot all about him. Anyway, the next match is for the WWE Heavyweight Championship. It is Goldberg versus the current heavyweight champion, Bobby Lashley. A lot of people online think that Goldberg is going to squash Bobby Lashley, which would really just piss me off. I think it's going to be the absolute opposite. I think Bobby Lashley will absolutely slaughter Goldberg and submit himself as WWE champion. But the question now becomes, if Lashley does win, and it's a physical matchup, do we get a Money in the Bank cash in from Big E or Corbin or whoever's holding that damn briefcase? What do you think here?
First of all, I don't want Lashley to lose to a Money in the Bank situation. That's for goddamn sure. Second of all, I don't see Goldberg allowing himself to be decimated by Lashley, although I like your idea. I think you're correct. I think that should absolutely happen. And it was the weird stuff with the interaction with his son that kind of throws me off too, right? Is he coming? Right? It was weird. So I'm like, what does that mean? Is his son going to interfere? Is his son going to watch him get just absolutely destroyed by Lashley and come in the ring and protect his father in some way? I don't know. So if Lashley destroys him, which I hope happens, and maybe I'll lean that way, I think the son's going to play a part in it somehow in some way because they stressed it in that promo. And he's already gotten the spears on Lashley, which look bad, which they look fucking terrible. So Lashley's trying to sell it like he so hard. I think you're right. I think that's the way it should go. I just don't know if Goldberg's the kind of guy that allows himself to get beat that way. I just don't know. But I do think Lashley wins. I don't know if he wins the way you think he wins. Yeah.
Well, it happened. I mean, Drew McIntyre pretty much beat him pretty handily. So that happened.
Yeah. True.
True. It's not like Goldberg's going to have like a 30-minute match. You know what I'm saying? So no offense to him, but honestly, no offense. I can't believe I said that. Bobby Lashley as WWE champion is something that I like.
Yes.
I really like Bobby, and I like him as WWE champion. I think it's like 10 years overdue, but we finally got it. And if Big E cashes in, that'll be fine. But I do want to see Big E get his moment, and like Big E is big on big meaty men slapping meat. That's what he says a lot. And I would like to see Big E versus Bobby Lashley in a big meaty men slapping meat match. I would like to see that.
Yeah, I'm down with that. All right, where are we off to next?
All right, so now we're on to the main event, which is John Cena, the 16-time world champion, versus our tribal chief. Acknowledge him. It is Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. Does John Cena get title number 17, or does Roman Reigns hold on to the Universal Championship again? And possibly, I will posit this, maybe sometime if they really want to make a splash, maybe not as big as CM Punk, but we'll still get people talking, Brock Lesnar comes back to challenge Roman Reigns. Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see it.
Yeah, all right. So you think Reigns wins? Is that what you think, or Cena?
I think Roman Reigns is going to win, yes.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Cena. Reigns said that if Cena wins, I'm going to leave the WWE. And on the fringes of wrestling Twitter, is that a thing? I don't know if that's a thing.
It might be.
I've heard people speculating that Reigns is having some physical issues, some health issues, or some family problems.
I don't like that.
So I'm hearing that, and I hope it's not a return of the leukemia he's struggling. Yeah. But that would explain him making a strong comment about CM Punk, then saying if he loses, he'll leave the WWE, and if Cena beats him, he disappears for a few months. This could be a way to kind of go out, and then the fans are either feel bad for you or they're upset at you, and they have time to heal and miss you. And then when you come back, it's massive. So I have a feeling Cena wins, but then what do you do with Cena after that? I don't know. Who do you put him in a program with? It can't be Lesnar, but it could be, because Lesnar, remember, kicked the shit out of Cena and that match. And I don't know if Cena ever got full revenge on Lesnar for that match. So
he did.
That could be something.
No, I'm saying Lesnar comes back to challenge Roman Reigns, not John Cena.
Oh, okay.
Not John Cena.
Well, he wants the belt, and whoever has the belt, I think he'd go after them. Don't you think?
Dude, I mean, why would you not? Like, John Cena's big box office against Roman Reigns, and so is Brock Lesnar. So, depending on what you want to do there, John Cena, I don't know who you go with on John Cena. Maybe Seth Rollins. Maybe when he breaks off, maybe you do something like that. I'm not sure, but we'll see. Maybe he does another one with Edge. How cool would that be? We get Cena and Edge again. So, there's stuff you can do here.
That is interesting.
Roman Reigns, I think, is he's too hot, dude. Like, he just can't. The right person has not come along to take that title off of him yet. Right. So he's got to keep it.
Well, didn't they make Omega lose to Christian? Was he the right person to come along and take the title? I'm just putting that out there.
Come on, dude. It doesn't count. It's the Impact title. Impact a couple weeks ago had 60,000 viewers. That means nothing. It means absolutely nothing.
All right, fine. I'm just putting it out there. All right, let me see if we've got any more Streamlabs and Super Chats. Nothing. What the hell, people? We got over 130 all. You can't send in some support here for what we're doing. Don't you enjoy what we're doing, for God's sake?
Guys, I need $12. Can someone put in $12 so I can get that six-pack real quick? $12.
How about 1,200 so we can all get six?
Well, no, not 12. 1,200. That's a lot. But $12, please.
I know one of you's got 1,200 lying around. All right, where that you're not doing anything with.
It ain't me.
Where are we off to next, my man? I know we got to wrap up the show. I know we're at an hour and a half already, but we went over on the CM Punk conversation. Do you want to hit the NXT Takeover stuff?
Yeah, we'll hit NXT Takeover.
Okay.
AEW Rampage was known as the first dance. This might be the last dance for NXT if the rumors are true that they are. The rumors are true because they are doing a month of tapings of NXT because I got the email about it.
Wow.
The rumor is that they're going to redo the entire CWC at the Performance Center to make it the permanent home of NXT television, and that NXT will now be, as it used to be, like literally the farm system for WWE. So, end of an era. But anyway, so NXT Takeover 36 is tonight or tomorrow night. Sorry. Yeah. And we got some matches going on, so let's get to those and get some thoughts. First matchup is LA Knight, the $1 million champion, versus Cameron Grimes to the moon. If LA Knight wins, then Ted DiBiase is now LA Knight's butler. So what do you think about this?
I think Cameron Grimes is going to win. I think that's a step too far to make DiBiase a butler, even though it'd be very funny. Some great vignettes for sure. But I think in the end, I think Cameron Grimes is going to win. They've been doing all these vignettes where Ted is building him up. So I think in the end, it is finally going to be Cameron Grimes who gets the best of LA Knight, because he's lost to LA Knight a few times now, Aaron. Yep. So this could be the time where he finally turns it around. And especially if they're going to implode everything at NXT, you might as well give the kid a victory here. So I think he's going to win.
Yeah, I think Cameron Grimes is going to the moon. I think he's going to get that $1 million championship. I could see LA Knight moving up, honestly. Yeah. If we're going to shake up NXT, LA Knight's a guy, he's not necessarily young, no offense. I mean, there's an ageist comment, but he's a guy that looks good. He looks like a Vince guy, can cut a great promo, great in the ring. I think he's a main roster talent. I don't know why you don't give it to Cameron Grimes here. Yeah. So I'll go with Cameron.
All right. Maybe it makes LA Knight his baller. I don't know. All right. What's next?
All right. So this one is really interesting because it's Walter versus Ilya Dragunov for the NXT, or is it NXT? I don't think it is. I don't know. UK Championship anyway. Yeah. Walter, the longest reigning champion in WWE, had that title for a couple of years now, versus the one man that almost beat his ass, and that was Ilya Dragunov. And their first match was an absolute classic. This one could be the same. So I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that Ilya Dragunov defeats Walter. And we were talking about opponents for John Cena possibly. What if, talk about what if scenarios, what if Walter shows up on SmackDown and beats the piss out of John Cena? Talk about making yourself somebody. Wow. I think that's another guy that is a Vince guy. He's a big foreign, he's from Austria. He's a big foreign guy that just no nonsense, no bullshit, no gimmicks. I think that's a Vince guy that he likes. I could see Walter going to the top very soon.
Okay.
There you go.
I was going to go with Walter, but now maybe you might have talked me out of it. If that's the scenario they go with, then it makes sense. Also, when you look at the Ilya Dragunov situation, he lost to him a year ago, and this feels very similar to Rock Cena. When Cena lost to The Rock and had to wait that whole year and crisis of confidence and work even harder and train even more, and ends up getting the victory over The Rock. This could be the same kind of situation where Ilya gets the victory over Walter because he spent the whole year obsessing with figuring out how to beat Walter, and finally makes his plan, or puts his plan in motion and gets the victory. And then Walter goes off to SmackDown, as you said. That could be very interesting. I'm down with it. I like Walter. I like guys who don't need flashy tights to get over. That's a rare guy. And so I like that Walter has that. And he's one word, he's one name. It's not even an unusual name like, like Rocha. It's Walter. It's something simple that you would see anybody. An accountant is named Walter, but he's been able to turn it into a name to strike fear and terror in the fans and in his opponents. So I like the idea of him jumping. All right, I'll go with Ilya. I'll go with you. I'll agree with you.
Well, I see Murder Rocha in the chat saying that Walter doesn't want to be in the main roster. He doesn't want to move to America. I think if you pay somebody enough, they'll do anything you want. So if Walter is presented, hey, we're going to need you to move to America for a little bit. Your first feud is with John Cena.
Yeah.
Might do it.
Why not? Why not?
And why not? Okay. Next match is Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly 3. Could it be the last dance of Adam Cole? That is the question. Yeah. And it is a 2 out of 3 falls match. I think that we'll just make it simple here. I think Kyle O'Reilly goes over. And Adam Cole, we either find out is going to the main roster or he's going to AEW. We'll see. So we'll get with Kyle O'Reilly to win there.
I hate agreeing with you because I do like to have a little bit of discussion or argument on the show, but I can't disagree with you here. It's Kyle O'Reilly's due. He's absolutely due to win this. So I think they're going to be incredible matches. Adam Cole's going to lose nothing losing to Kyle O'Reilly in terms of status or stature with the fans. So I think it's smart. Kyle O'Reilly wins here. Kyle O'Reilly's on the come up. He needs this victory to establish himself even more. So it makes all the sense in the world that he takes this one. So yeah, I'll go with Kyle O'Reilly as well.
All right. Well, let's move on. Hopefully it's not the last dance from Adam Cole because I love Adam Cole. Anyway.
Yeah. And thank you, Dion, for the super sticker. Appreciate it.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, thank you. And was it Murderanta who said that? No, Kramash. We did spend a lot already, John. Come on. You didn't spend enough, Gramash. All right, go ahead. Let's go.
I need $12 more, Gramash. Anyway,
come on.
Dakota Kai versus Raquel Gonzalez, former friends for the NXT Women's Championship. John, I already know where you're going with this one.
Yes.
I'm going to say that, believe it or not, this is either whoever loses goes up, in my opinion. If Dakota loses, she goes up. If Raquel loses, she goes up.
Okay.
I really think so. So I'm going to go with Raquel because they haven't necessarily established her as like the top yet. And it would make sense that she would destroy Dakota. But Dakota has been cutting some really good promos on her, and I think like it makes sense. Like she could be a formidable opponent. So I think it's going to be an underrated match, but I think Raquel will beat Dakota and retain the women's championship.
I think Raquel wins, obviously. I think your reasons make sense. To me, is like that she's not at the status now to take the title off Raquel and make it be a big deal. She's just not. And so I think Raquel is going to absolutely retain. They're still establishing her. I was shocked that Rhea was the first of those women who came to the NXT and held up the belts to lose the belt. So I was really shocked that they went with her as the one to lose. But in the end, I think Raquel's doing a great job with the belt. So I don't see a reason to let Dakota Kai win this thing. So yeah, I think that's the way it goes. And Dakota Kai going up, I didn't think about that. Makes sense. I could see that. Yeah.
You just don't like Dakota Kai, admit it. Anyway, you don't like her. Anyway,
I like her as a person.
Fair enough. Anyway, the main event of the evening for the NXT Heavyweight Championship, the return of Samoa Joe as he takes on the champion, Karrion Kross, in what could be, I guess it's going to be the swan song of Karrion Kross because he's on Raw now, so that's confusing. Yeah. But does Samoa Joe stay in NXT if they're basically tearing it down? I don't know. Very questionable. I'm going to go with Samoa Joe here. It makes sense. Yeah. The way, I don't know if Karrion Kross is going to have Scarlett because apparently she's having, reports are saying she's having some personal stuff going on. So hopefully wish the best for Scarlett there. But I'm going to go with Samoa Joe to beat Karrion Kross.
Yeah, I think Samoa Joe, you don't bring him back and not have him win the title. I think it's a different situation than Cena. Like Cena, if he wins the title, if there's stuff going on behind the scenes with Roman, that makes sense. But that's different. You don't need Cena to come back and win the title. You don't. Cena just being there is enough. With Samoa Joe, because of the way he was let go and the way he was brought back, it just makes sense to have him win the belt. And you're right. The Karrion Kross thing, it seems like he's already kind of jumped up. So it's almost like a foregone conclusion, which I hate in wrestling, dude. I hate when they do that because it takes away the unknowability thing that you like to have in matches. I don't know who's going to win. And these two that are so evenly matched with so many different ways it can go. I think absolutely though it's going to be Samoa Joe. But who do you line him up with next if Karrion Kross jumps up?
That's Kyle O'Reilly.
Kyle or Adam Cole because they had beef a few weeks ago. So
be done.
Be done could be fun. Yeah,
he's got people, man. He's got people he can line up with.
Joe wants to wrestle, and maybe they're saying, all right, we're going to give you an extended run. But if you get injured, that's it. You're fucking done. Your commentary and all this kind of stuff.
That's fair.
I think that's absolutely fair. So yeah, give him a shot. Why not? People love him, and Joe wants to kill you. So there you go.
There you go. That's it.
All right. There you go, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on this live episode of Strong Style. Appreciate everybody who's going to watch later. A lot of you do. So please remember, whether you're watching us live right now as we're wrapping up the show or later, hit a like on this video. We appreciate you hitting like and leave a comment if you're watching later. Comments and likes are really important. We appreciate them. I read every single comment you leave. It doesn't mean I respond to all of them, but I certainly read them and I appreciate them. Try to like as many as I can as well. I'm sure Aaron does as well. So we appreciate. Thanks for all the Streamlabs and the super chats. To everybody except Gramash, thank you very much for saying this. No, I'm just joking.
No. I love you, Gramash. I love Gramash.
Where's Hill Nellums? We missing Hill Nellums.
Where's Hill? Brother. Yeah, I don't know.
If you're watching later, we miss you, Hill.
We love you, Hill.
Exactly. Thank you very much. And please, we're 5 likes away from getting over 100 before we wrap up the show. So get us over 100 if you haven't hit that thumbs up button. And thanks for all your great comments in the chat. Love the lively chat. I love doing this show. People ask all the time, why are you doing a pro wrestling show? I do a pro wrestling show because you guys are so fun to read in the chat. And I love working with Aaron Turner and talking about the stuff. And I love pro wrestling. And Saturdays, you lift up my Saturdays no matter what's going on. I have a great time on the show. And you guys are a big reason why. So thank you very much. And Aaron Turner is the other reason why. Aaron, thanks again, brother man. Where can they find you? What you got going on?
Find me on Twitter at only Aaron Turner. I got Madden this week, so it's on the Outlaw Twitch channel soon. It's going to be on. I'm still kind of learning the kinks because I haven't played Madden in a while, so I'm kind of trying to figure that out. I'm actually going to watch SummerSlam tonight, so follow my Twitter feed. I'll be hopefully live tweeting, and just check out all that stuff there. I've got a first class league match coming up soon, but I don't think it's for like 3 weeks. So I will keep you guys in the loop on that if you want to take a look at that. So appreciate your time. Thank you for everybody that came to the chat and everybody that watched along. Appreciate you so much. Even though we will disagree on things, it's fine.
It's totally fine. You're right. Yeah, you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram and on Twitch, The Outlaw Nation on Twitch there. And I think I'm Johnny Outlaw 316 on PS5. So if you want to come and friend me, I'm going to start playing online as soon as I can figure out how to hook up my Ethernet cord to the PS5 and get it all squared away. We'll start doing that.
It's not hard. It's not hard.
And please don't quit before you lose a match.
Oh, come on.
I'm so sick of that. I've been playing FIFA online. I tried it out for the first time this week. And it was it's so many people do the whole pause thing before you're about to shoot a shot or whatever. And it's like, come on, cut it out. So very frustrating to deal with that. So I hate that kind of crap overall. So don't be that person if you're going to come play me in a match or anything online. What else? Subscribe to the channel down below. Hit that bell button so you know when we're dropping all the content we do on the Outlaw Nation. Look for my reviews dropping this weekend as well. I just did a review for Reminiscence last night. I'm going to drop a Flag Day review, and if I get to watch Night House sometime today, I will drop my review for that tomorrow. We dropped our Ted Lasso review for the latest episode earlier this morning, and of course the Geek Buddies reviewed What If, the episode 2, the one with T'Challa coming back, or Chadwick Boseman coming back as T'Challa to lead the Ravagers in the Guardians of the Galaxy one. That is out there for y'all to watch as well. All right, that's it from us. We love you madly. Thanks for the over 100 likes. Thanks, Ramash, for the update. And we'll talk to you next time with another brand new live episode here of Strong Style.
Thanks for the beer money.
CM Punk is back, baby. Woo!